Hello everyone, this is Wrath, and today we're going to be going through the Ghost of Days Gone By, Map 5 of Enter the Cabal August event quest. So you see here that there are a few different paths at the beginning of Aspect Evolution on the right, which basically, over time, as power bars are filled, they're going to get better. The next one, Aspect of Chaos, you're basically going to have life switching back and forth, so timing is going to be very important for that one. The next is going to be Aspect of Genesis, which heal blockers are going to be important because basically they're going to heal and they're going to cause you to degenerate as well when they get low in health. The next one, which we're going to do, is Aspect of Death. Basically, after every single super usage, they become the ability to kill you in one hit, even against a shield, so be very careful with that one. Aspect of War, your shield proficiency goes down, and eventually they become unblockable, and they also become unstoppable after super usage. And then the last one, Aspect of Nightmares, you basically degenerate 50% of your health at the beginning, and then you regenerate it afterwards. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the right. We're going to go through Aspect of Evolution. Alright, for the Aspect of Evolution, I would basically just ignore it and just fight like normally. Against Deadpool X-Force, just remember that when he gets low in health, around 30%, he's going to have a power gain that's going to get him basically 2 bars of super energy. So make sure you bait that super out beforehand and make sure he's below 1 super bar when he hits that 30% mark and gains power, so that way he doesn't get his 3rd super. Additionally, you shouldn't be attacking him while he's doing that, just to make sure that he's not getting any super while he's having power gains. That way he doesn't get to the 3rd super while he has that power gain. So you'll see here shortly, basically just bait out the 1st super when you can. So right now I'm going to bait it out before he gets to 30. He gets the power gain, he basically gets 2 bars of energy, and then you're just going to fight him like normal. So Deadpool X-Force, bait the 1st and 2nd super, both are dodgeable. Just dodge back as soon as they activate. 1st is the Growing Punch, 2nd is the sword slash forward. Both of them completely dodgeable. Just dodge back once, get back in there and attack him. You will see your attacks are going to do basically less damage, and your like bleed abilities will activate less often. I'm using X23 here, but honestly, anything will work against Deadpool X-Force. Just pick whatever champion you have that's highest level. But just to note, when you get to the boss of this one, the Adaptoid, you're going to want to have a power controller like Magik. So I would really keep Magik by herself. Just don't attack it. Don't attack anything with Magik until the end. We'll see why at the very end of this video. So Gambit, his 2nd super is the easiest to dodge, as basically just a slam down with the staff. So try to push the 2nd super by using the strategy of holding your shield and then attacking, using your super right here to push past the 2nd bar, and then basically you're just going to dash backwards until his staff hits the ground. Be careful, that is a kind of a little bit of a shockwave, so make sure you're dashed all the way against the side wall, and then just basically keep attacking him over and over again. 1st super is dodgeable. He basically does a single attack that's a melee one and then throws a card. You can dodge both of them, but if you're not comfortable with it, dodge the 1st part and then take the card on the shield, as we just saw in the last video. You'd rather not take the damage. Just take it through the shield. It's not that much damage. Ideally, though, try to push to the 2nd super, so that way you can kind of completely evade the 2nd super, get back in there, as well as drain 2 bars of energy, which is perfect. So you see here, it's not too terrible. We'll also go through in future videos the different paths that you can take in this one, as the different aspects are very different in their strategy. We're going to go the death route, so basically this is going to be this curse that after every single time they use their super, they're going to die if you get hit by them after a few seconds. So wait for that basically ancestral curse marker to go down, which we'll see in this video. First one is Nightcrawler, so I'd recommend anyone that can stop his evasions at the beginning, because you're going to be using the Nightcrawler strategy of basically forcing him to switch to Swashbuckler. Iceman works great if he's unlocked. Cold Snap, just attack him. Basically, you're dash back forwards, so he dashes backwards, and then he'll start triggering his Swashbuckler conversion. Go in there, attack his shield a few times, and then you can actually push him all the way. Overall, this fight's basically going to turn into you saving your super until after he uses his. You dodge his super, because you don't want to get hit by it because it'll kill you. And then you do a full combo and then use your super. So we'll see here in the next one. So I'm going to basically bet a super, dash backwards, immediately hit his combo, and then use your super. And you see in that upper kind of middle area, you saw this red curse that's counting down timer-wise. It has like kind of like a demon's head on it. That's the thing that will get you to like die immediately if you get hit by that. So we'll see it again here. He's about to be using his 2nd super. 2nd super is basically this swinging sword attack. So we'll see here shortly. Right there, swinging sword attack. He dashes forwards. Make sure you dash backwards afterwards. So definitely watch this video both times to see the first and second super timing, because he does do a teleportation move, and you want to make sure you dodge that second move. So again, we're going to see a second super again here shortly. Dodge backwards, wait for him to activate, dash back once, then dash back again afterwards, make sure you're far away from it, and then attack him, and make sure that you're hitting him with a combo and your super, so that way the Ancestral Curse, what's on the Ancestral Curse, but the Lingering Death goes away. So that's the strategy for Nightcrawler. You can use anyone for Crossbones. Same node on him, so same aspect of death. With Crossbones, though, remember that he can convert your debuffs into basically Fury Markers, so your stuns might not stick against him, so just keep that in mind. So you can either wait for the end of a combo or just see that you stick stun and then attack him. Same exact strategy as before, which is going to be you're going to get him to his first bar of super, have a bar of super yourself, and then you're going to basically dash backwards, and as soon as he activates a super, dash backwards again, and then come in after he does that forward fist punch, and then you're going to do your super. That way you can get him past the Lingering Death, and then ideally he would have his super again, and so you can basically bait it again. So this is going to be first super bait back and forth, and then use your super to make sure you don't get hit while that Lingering Death is on. So again, dash backwards. The reason why I would not push him to a second super is he uses the shotgun, and that's very difficult to attack. If you mess up like what I just did there, I didn't dash forward correctly, just back away until that curse goes away. That's your biggest problem. Don't try to parry, because that will kill you. You just need to run away. So run away, dash backwards, just make sure that that curse is not on when he hits you, otherwise you will die. So again, dash backwards, do a full combo. If you don't have a super, that's fine. Normally it'll go away almost immediately if you just dash backwards. So that was Crossbones. Not particularly difficult, but again, just make sure that you are not getting hit after that special. Make sure you're doing a full combo afterwards, and don't get hit by the special itself. Alright, so for Medusa, you can use really anyone, because remember that this is not in a war, so they don't have the parry mastery on, so it's not a big deal there. But remember that when she gets 3 Fury Markers, she will auto-block, and you'll see in this fight that kind of messes me up, so you'll see what not to do a little bit later. But again, basically the same strategies. You're going to attack her, you're going to dash backwards, you're going to dash forward, you're going to hit her, and then use your super to make sure you don't get hit while she has that actual Lingering Curse on. It's better to have someone with a first super that's longer. That way you can basically keep them at bay for longer. A better way to do it with the auto block is to try to get the auto block triggered before you go into her super. That way she doesn't auto block afterwards. So right now we kind of triggered beforehand. That way we can do the full combo, get away before the curse activates. As long as that curse isn't there, you can parry, which is fine. So you can still do your normal parry strategy. Try to bait the first or second super. They're both completely dodgeable. Watch the video a little closely to make sure you know when they end, because it's a little confusing. With the second one you just saw there, it ends with that hair slam down after the twirl. So just make sure you know exactly when it ends, otherwise you'll dash in and get hit and then die because of the curse. First one again ends with that hair slam downwards. And you'll see right there, because she auto-blocked during the super, she was able to dash in right afterwards while I was recovering. So that's the one problem with Medusa, is she can get you if she has her ability to auto-block during your special. That's the problem. So here I'm just using X23, exact same strategy. You don't need Iceman for this one, because the Medusa doesn't have the parry, so it doesn't matter whether or not she auto-blocks you, you're not going to be parried and stunned. So don't worry about who you use against Medusa in this one. You'll see basically this entire pathway was non-specific, except for the Nightcrawler. You're going to want someone to deal with his evasion and switch him to Swashbuckler. Otherwise it's going to be very difficult to deal with him. Alright, so now we're going to go forward more. Now this is where there's a ambush. The ambush here is Punisher. Again, his supers are very difficult to manage, especially his first one, because it's just a lot of gunshots, a lot of chip damage, especially since in this video we're using all 4 stars to kind of show that you can get through with 4 stars. So I would use someone that has power control. So I'd recommend you bring somebody else that has power control, but again, reserving that magic. We'll see why in a little bit, but again, just someone with power control to basically keep him from using his first super too many times. His second super basically also has a gunfire, but you can dodge the last part of it, so you can save a little bit of chip damage. But you'll see here shortly. So strategy is wise. If you have a power controller, just try to get to your ability to reduce his energy. So with vision, it's especially Age of Ultron vision, you're going to want to save to the second one at the beginning, so that way you can reduce his entire bar of energy to 0. So just keep basically using your super when you need to make sure that they don't have a first bar super to use that first attack. Sometimes you'll see there we use the first super just to make sure he can't use that first super. And you'll see why shortly. He does get a first super off, and it does do a fair amount of chip damage. So this is why you want to use a power controller. But again, you don't have to. You can just take the chip damage and just deal with it. But you'll see there, it's a fair amount. You know, it's 10 to 15%. So if you have enough champions left, it's not a big deal. You don't need a power controller. I would save your power controller for the boss. So if you don't have extra, just use multiple people on him, like bleeders, for instance, like X23 or any other champion, honestly, against him. It doesn't matter. But you're going to want to have power controllers, specifically Mystic ones, against the Adaptoid at the end. We'll see that in a little bit. Alright, so basically attacking him. And then also the benefit of Age of Ultron vision here is that we can heal block Punisher, so that when he gets his heal block, like right now, you can basically stop his heal regeneration. Now, if you didn't have that ability, then you can still just power through it and do more damage, but it's better, obviously, to not have to deal with that regeneration. Though it's not something that's going to make or break you. You can definitely punch through it without having vision. Just remember you're going to take more chip damage. That's okay. You can get through it. Just remember that you just don't want to get hit by a combo. Alright, so now for this map 5, we're going to fight that Adaptoid. And so the Adaptoid here has Vigor. So basically he's going to regenerate health every 15 seconds from the start of the fight. And the timer resets at 50 and 25%. And then for the unblockable, he will become unblockable below 25%. Additionally, he's going to gain buffs against physical or energy. And on top of that, his first super is unblockable. So do not get hit by the first super. You're going to have to dexterity it. And then the big thing here is that because of those energy gains, it's going to be big for Magik. Passive abilities, basically immune to poison and bleed. He's going to gain power, and then his special attacks will make him unblockable for 3 seconds. So just remember that as well. It's not unblockable, unstoppable. He'll be unblockable below 25%. So now the reason why we chose Magik here is because he is going to keep getting those resistances. And because I have Mystic Dispersion, so I'd recommend Mystic Dispersion. You don't have to have it, but I would recommend it. Because what you're going to have then is you're going to continuously gain power while you hit him. So you see here that his first super is basically just Iron Man's, the original Iron Man's. So you can completely dodge it. Just make sure you dash backwards as soon as it happens. You see here that with Mystic Dispersion, you're going to get your third super very rapidly, which means you're going to do a ton of damage because of those 10 resistance markers that you're going to remove from him. Additionally, you can use it to remove the regeneration. But he's going to fight very similar to Iron Man, so if you know his playstyle, then that's what you're going to be fighting against. With Magik, you're basically keeping him power controlled because you don't want him activating a super because then he becomes unstoppable. So you don't have to use Magik. You could use Vision, you could use Dr. Voodoo, you could use any other power controller just to make sure that he doesn't activate supers. It's not essential. You could be doing just making sure that you don't get hit during the unstoppable, but because of that power gain, it's going to be almost consistent. So I would definitely recommend a power controller, and Magik is a great option. And again, you don't need Mystic Dispersion because it'll just take you longer to build up that power. And honestly, sometimes the Mystic Dispersion messes you up because it gets you to your third super when you want your second. But the strategy is basically you're going to be continuously doing your second super to power lock him, and then your third super for damage and removing buffs. So you see here, he actually has super get off, so he became unstoppable. But you can parry him as long as he's not below 25%, so just make sure you parry him. I did this a little wrong. I did it a little too early. You probably want to do him down to 15%. So that way when you use your third super, he gets really, really low. But you see here that he's below 25%, or roughly at 25%. So that means that he's unblockable. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your supers, and then you're going to use your strategies to make sure you don't get hit even against a guard. And so what those are is going to be basically dodging backwards to making sure that he doesn't hit you and then attacking a shield and dashing back and dashing in. Or wait till after heavy. Or you can do your super and then immediately attack afterwards. And then continue to do the super and then attack afterwards. And dash backwards and dash forwards. So watch this portion of the video to make sure that you understand how to deal with his unblockable. But basically you're doing the dash back, dash forward strategy, but then as well as power controlling it. If you don't have power control, it's going to be a lot more difficult because it's going to become unstoppable. So that's the trick. And then additionally, with Magik's third super, you deal a lot of damage at the end because you're removing all those buffs. So I hope this video was helpful. Please like, subscribe, and comment below any other videos you think would be useful or any champions you want to see in specific run-throughs of the event quest. We'll be posting all the other event quest walkthroughs very shortly. Thanks.